Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And we are super excited here at Apparel Redefined. It's that time of season. Our favorite
Oh,
John Leroy, Derek Brubaker. How are you guys? What's going on here?
good. How are you, Kurt? Sorry, we
Hey,
lost you for a second there, but now you're back. But
awesome.
thanks
All
for
right.
having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So just always have those technical difficulties. So, hey, it's our favorite time of year. For especially for those of us that live up north, we're trying to soak up like every last hour of summertime. But right around the corner is just that magnificent time of year, fall. It's kids going back to school, leaves are changing, and of course, one of our favorite times is football. So this is a really important time for apparel. Let's talk back to school. Lots of exciting things going on, the events, like we said, football, cheerleading. What are some top priorities that people should be thinking about with branded apparel as we come back into school time?
Yeah, it's always last minute because no one likes to think about the end of summer, right? It's such a short time that we have to be outside up here in the north. I mean, we're talking like we're in Alaska, but we're in Chicago. But
Yeah,
no one wants, everyone wants to put it off, right? And
right.
it just seems like, I don't know about you, Kurt, in Buffalo, but it seems like school is starting earlier and earlier. Uh, my cousins that are younger, they're going back to school next week. I'm like, oh my God, like this
Right.
is depressing. But yeah, preparation is key, because it's here before you know it. Um, and the entire country is all going after the same inventory at the same time of year. So if you want something really specific in terms of a garment, and functionality is key because one thing that we know here is like we're all in shorts and t-shirts still, right? But in the Midwest, Northeast, it could be 85 today and it could be 55 Monday. You know what I mean? So
Right.
people need to start thinking about long sleeves, unfortunately, and some hoodies, but plan for it because everyone, you get into football season and you might be 3, 4 weeks in and you're like, God darn, I wish we would have had something for homecoming or, the big rivalry games. Rivalry games are huge here, Southside of Chicago. You got, high schools that have been playing against each other for some over 100 years.
Right.
And it's always cool to have those, smashing helmet designs and stuff, but it all takes time. And having that preparation ahead of time is really, really important.
Yeah, and regardless of what season we're thinking about, John, what time frame, and like you said, seems like summer just started. We just started grilling, 4th of July, then you blink and all of a sudden like fall's around the corner. When should people start planning ahead of time per season? Like what's that look like?
When should they or when do they?
Let's start when should they,
Yeah.
and then when do they?
I mean, we try and be like a month to 6 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah,
Because like right now too, like just on top of football,
right.
October's breast cancer awareness, right? Susan G. Komen walks all over the country. We'd really prefer people to start thinking about that now because especially with that, like the entire country is ordering pink and there's a limited availability of pink. So you really want to get ahead of that. So I would say like what you should be doing is 4 to 6 weeks because it will take usually about a week or two to get the design work down, right? And then usually we set up an online store, disseminate that out, let people order for a week or two. It takes a week or two to produce and then disseminate out. So I mean, it happens quickly, but those three sequential steps need to happen: design, product, online store, give people time to order. Then we have to produce it and get it out as well. So yeah, I mean 4 to 6 weeks, right? That's what
Hmm.
you'd like to be
Yeah.
at. Yeah.
Yeah. So DB, let's pull you in. So, you doing a wonderful job helping people, and for, I won't call anybody out, but I know I'm a last minute guy. So, when somebody comes into you, kind of walk us through the apparel redefined process. Hopefully they've given you a little bit of a runway, but what does that look like, for a starting point for that first time customer?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's in a sense it's getting better because people kind of see, oh, I got burned last year because I
Yeah.
wasn't prepared enough. So we are seeing the emails of our more I guess, accustomed to the apparel process say, hey, I'm pushing this your way, be prepared, or something like that. We vetted you, for this online store, it's coming. But on the other side, you've kind of pinpointed your repeat offenders that that aren't going to change. So you can prepare for that a little bit. But I mean, to what John said, it's the logistics of it all. We can turn that around in 7 to 10 days, no problem. 10 times out of 10, it's just I don't have my artwork ready and I need it in 10 days, or I need it in 10 days and it needs to all be packaged and delivered in 10 days. So it's more so about the logistics. You have people that, here's my artwork. I know I'm last minute. What can you do to help me out? And you succumb to help those people out. Especially because maybe they do a little something for you, and you guys kind of have that said relationship. But I mean, it's just gathering and farming as much information as you can ahead of time. And that's one thing with a smaller sales division that we're kind of trying to build out that formality of these programs. I mean, we have our guy Ben, that's coming on, that you guys are going to kind of assist with a little bit more, and create more literature, for people to just be like, here, this is what you can fill out. We can start to promote those kind of things, in that preparation. Email blast somebody 6 weeks out that is somebody that orders right around this time of the year, on the button every time, and just keep them ahead. Because just educating people that they have no clue that people are buying up every safety pink t-shirt in the world, and it's going to be a problem to get that. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we can turn something around really quickly, but if I have to get this one piece from a drop ship vendor that takes 3 to 7 question mark days, that puts a lot of stress on the production team, because John and myself were yes men in the terms of, can you do it? Because we know it can get done. We have the staff to do it. And, we do it, 9 times out of 10 when it is some critical rush. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I would say I'm a little bit more prepared in the aspect of that. So I'm trying to ask the right questions. But when John comes to me and says, hey, I got cousins weekend in a day and a half, and you need to come up with some art.
Yeah, big offender.
It's okay. I know how to get the ball rolling and get the shirts ordered, get that art request out there as soon as possible, and just notify everybody that, hey, it's coming. But yeah, and the year is just like what John had said. It's like, holy crap, where'd the summer go? August 1st, everybody's kind of putting their heads down in the books. I didn't do anything all summer. Now all my projects, events, they're coming to fruition. Or even teachers that have been off, back to school, they're like, okay, I got to do my couples weeks worth of work before everybody comes in, and they need it quickly. But we're happy to service that. And yeah, it's just, you got to coach people to become better and better, and you don't want to let somebody down for them to be that lesson. Like, hey, you're going to have your shirts next week, not this week. It happens for those softball teams and things like that, to where first week you're wearing wife beaters, and then the next week you'll have your jerseys. So yeah, it's just preparation, and trying to coach your clients into becoming ideal clients.
Yeah, dude, there was so much that value that you just dropped there. I love the word coaching. You use the word educating, creating those win-win relationships. And that's, and John, we talk about that. How do you out teach the competition? And that's what I love about Apparel Redefined. We're doing these lives, putting out information, putting out content. We want to create these win-wins because, nobody's winning when everybody's stressed out last minute, wearing our wife beaters at a softball tournament, that type of thing. John, let's talk about, okay, so school, we're back to school. Obviously the big, football, cheerleaders, there's a lot of other sports out there, lacrosse, field hockey, other things. What are some of the, what other sports, what are schools are coming to you at Apparel Redefined? What are people coming to you for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have your big three, but the other stuff that's out there, you have rugby. Rugby, yeah. They train in the fall to get ready for the spring season. It kind of coincides with football. Lacrosse is a huge one. You got soccer. Boys soccer for us here in the Midwest is also in the fall. But you have like a lot of walkathons too, right? You have big events, early fall, late fall marathons, 5Ks, 3Ks, 2K, whatever the case is. And you also have the political season. I mean, you can't escape it, whatever side you're on, or if you're in the middle, whatever. But political teas are everywhere right now. Um, Family reunions, Labor Day picnics. There's a lot of stuff coming up in a short window of time. Halloween parties. There's always a reason to get dressed up, or celebrate community, right? And what we talk about all the time. What a better way to do it than branded apparel? Um, One of the things too is I really think that we talk about setting up an online store in the traditional way of doing things. And one thing that we're armed with this season that we weren't in the past was this print on demand, right? If we don't need to be in a situation where our backs are against the wall all the time. If we can coach the customer like, hey, it's 3 days before your event, we can't set up an online store, we don't have enough time, but we could send you a link really quickly, and we can get your shirt up, and it could be print on demand. It has to be this t-shirt in this time frame, and we can get it done for you. So again, it's that way of not saying no. I can't do everything you need, but I could do this and meet your demands. So that's really nice that we're able to do that this year more than we've ever could before. We would still do it in years past, and we would screen print it, and it would piss everyone off in the back. But we just had to get it done. Like Derek said, we are definitely yes men, but now we could say yes, but here's the other solution that will work for you.
Yeah, that's great. So, again, event coordinators, teachers, coaches, so many folks that need, family, celebrations. A lot of weddings are in the fall,
Oh, yeah.
Oktoberfest. You mentioned Halloween, my goodness gracious. It's, I hate to mention it, Thanksgiving's going to be around the corner. So there's, a lot of things coming up. What I want to dive into is, for print on demand. So say, whether a B2B, business relationship, or that consumer out there, just walk us through, give us like a 101. What do you mean by print on demand? What is that?
Yeah, so that's the ability to sell without any inventory, right? Inventory commitment or pre-order. So what we were talking about before is hosting an online store. The way that traditionally works, get your design, pick your products, we host an online store. But in that process of a week, 2 weeks, whatever that is, nothing's actually produced as it's ordered. There's a time bound duration on that where stores created, let's say tomorrow, and then that's open for a week. When that store closes is when we start doing all the magic, ordering the blank garments, scheduling the decoration, and putting everything on par, and then getting ready for fulfillment. Now, print on demand, the second that piece is ordered, it goes to print. So you're limited because we don't stock every item under the sun to have that stuff on our shelf, and go to print. So you're limited on the amount of options, but you make up for it in speed, right? So print on demand, just in time printing, no commitment to inventory, not an unlimited SKU base, but a really sizable SKU amount here, especially some major news coming in the industry. SNS just bought out Alpha Broder, which is a massive shift in the industry. There used to be 3 big players. Now there's really only 2 in the distributor side. But that will enhance the ability for us to get more SKUs into the print on demand catalog, which will help our customers. So we're excited about it. But yeah, that's the big difference right there. You have a time bound store versus a store that's kind of open 24/7, 365, printed on demand, smaller amount of volume of selection, but quicker to market.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And just, as you're saying, Derek, just, being the yes men that you are, satisfying the market. We'll start. I know you guys are super busy, so we're going to wind down a little bit. Could you tie in a little bit of a checklist? Again, somebody comes to you, if I'm coming to you brand new, say I just inherited a new sports team or whatever, and I want to be that educated customer to you to make your life a little bit easier and just really make it better for me. What are some things that I want to have front of mind when I knock on your door, to make this a winning situation?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the first thing you're going to ask me is, can I get a quote? Right.
Can I get a
And then
quote?
you're not going to have any of the information that I need to give you that quote. So, I mean, typically it's going to be, do you have artwork? because that's the biggest thing. Do we need to facilitate that in-house? Do we need to get vector? Are we doing digitizing for embroidery? So that's a good start, because then we kind of know what we're playing with in terms of color, decoration type, and what cost is going to go into that application. Then it would be, what is your garment style? And then that's going to be, do you have something laying around the house that you love? Have you seen something else? You got a picture of the tag, and what quantity are you looking for? And then typically the one that kind of gets kicked under the rug as a salesperson is trying to figure all that out is, when do you need it by? So that's where you kind of have to, depending on the client, I guess that changes. If you know somebody that's coming in and you're like, okay, I got 2 weeks, they're just looking for this order. But then somebody might hit you with the zinger once you give them the quote. Okay, yeah, how fast can I get it? Oh no, that doesn't work for me. And then you might have to pivot on your end to say, okay, well, we can't do this in that time frame, but we can do this. So yeah, I mean, I would say art, garment, quantity. Then you probably should be asking turn time. We got a lot of cool automation to where we're really just having to get as much data up front as possible, because it's really helping our staff out to go from CRM to our internal production software. So then I would say we're looking at, are you picking up? Are we shipping? Because then you have to allocate that transit time to their shipping time. If it's going to Texas, if it's going local, it's kind of a breeze. You can drop it off if extremely necessary, or it's going to be there in a day. And then, yeah, I mean, send a quote, and then that's kind of it. There's obviously a lot of different stipulations in between there. If you're going with the store route, there's, how long do you want it open for? What is your expectancy on these products to, turn around in? Because, B2B could open up a store for, 365 days a year, and you could get 100 orders a day. That will justify us to print on a daily basis, whether that's print on demand or we bulk it every 2 to 3 days, So typically, John has his fitness company online, and, we do that every 5 days, and it all is in a print on demand fashion, because there's a bunch of different designs on there and different garments and different applications that are involved. So yeah, you just kind of have to assess the situation and group things as best as you can, but it's a little bit further than our intro checklist, but it's because it's something that there's always going to be that question that, you didn't think about, and they have some obscure request, hey, can this go to 2 locations, or can everything be bagged up and labeled? It's just a very case by case scenario. So something that, is a good point to bring up, because we're currently trying to just develop that, so it takes 10 emails out of a 36 email thread,
Right.
That's unnecessary.
Yeah, just knocking down that process. And again, not your first rodeo. And that's just so comforting for somebody that's new. They've got 100 different things going on. This is one of them on their plate. They can come to Apparel Redefined, just get these things pulled off their plate, and just have that peace of mind knowing that they're just going to get phenomenal quality material, quality products, branded, fulfilling that brand promise, John, that we always love to talk about. So let's start winding down. John Leroy, parting thoughts, words of wisdom that you want to share as we're gearing up for this wonderful fall season. What do you want to share here?
I think I don't want to say, like, as it sounds like I'm writing my eulogy here, but as you get older, just appreciate the time. You're a business owner, basically a business owner of the sales department. I can't believe that it's already fall, and it flies by. The kids are heading back to school. And one of the things that I can say is that there's a couple things that, like, bring you back to moments in time, right? Like the song you heard or the t-shirt that you were wearing, right? And, like, again, last minute I dropped on Derek, hey, I'm going to a cousin's weekend up in Door County this weekend, and we need shirts for it, right? And, like, you put a date on it, you remember it, and it might be 10 years from now. And I have shirts from, a cousin's weekend 10 years ago.
Right.
And it's amazing the memories that are attached to that t-shirt. And what a cool thing to do at a really reasonable price, to have something for the rest of your life until, your wife or your mom or someone says, get rid of that shirt. And you're like, hell no. But it's amazing the power of a t-shirt carries, and to be able to attach that to an event and have it be like a conversation piece for the rest of your life for something that's really so simple as a t-shirt is pretty powerful.
I
get out there and order some t-shirts for the fall season.
That's right. I couldn't agree more. So, guys, we'll wind down. And again, thank you for your information, your passion, your expertise here on helping our friends out there, just making that process just a little bit smoother. I love the checklist idea. John, we're going to have to talk about that, getting that preseason checklist for folks just to get that off. And Derek, thank you for sharing your passion, your expertise, just a masterclass on how to, really go through this process seamless. We'll be back here next week with another amazing, wonderful topic and conversation. So from Apparel Redefined, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt.